to Every Day is a New Day.
Kim O'Neill from KimO'NeillCoaching.com.
We are live. Welcome to another episode of Every Day is a New Day, where I have amazing conversations with awesome guests about moving forward and choosing to embrace a positive outlook. My name is Kim O'Neill, and in addition to being your host, I'm also a personal empowerment and interview confidence coach. And if you'd like to find out more about how I can support you in gaining more confidence in both your personal and professional life, then I invite you to reach out to me at KimO'Neill@Outlook.com or connect with me on Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching, and O'Neill is O'Neill. And I am excited to introduce our guest today is Kaelen Revense. So welcome, Kaelen.
Thank you, Kim. I almost said welcome, but I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here too.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, that's awesome. And so hello to all of those that are with us live or on the replay. Again, if you're watching us live, you have found us on Facebook at Kim O'Neill Coaching, or on the replay, you may have found us on YouTube or on the bingenetworks.tv website on the Every Day is a New Day channel. Please do like, comment, and share. Not only helps me, the show, and my guests, but also all those people who are going to benefit from watching today's interview. And we love to interact with you live. So we look forward to your comments down below. Oh, Kaelen, how are you doing today?
I am doing really, really great. I had a friend tell me today, he says, why not choose to just make every day living in a world of possibilities? And I was like, that's just like, but I switched it up just a bit. I said, live every day in the world of infinite possibilities, right?
Yes.
So that's just been like my thing, and I'm just so excited, and yeah. So I'm doing really, really great. And yesterday was my birthday, and I know. And I have to share this with you guys because I was so intentional yesterday. I woke up, I said, I'm going to have this crazy awesome day with my birthday, and all this flow. And I've been looking for handbags. Okay. And I know this sounds super trivial, but I've been looking for a year, and I'm not a name brand person, but we went out to the outlet malls yesterday, and I went to the one that was closest was Michael Kors, and I was like, why not? We'll go and see what happens. So I go in, and I go straight up to the gal, the worker person there, and I said, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this size, a little bit bigger, da-da-da. She's like, well, take a look at this. And it wasn't what I wanted. And she says, well, just take a look around the store. So I just started to look around, and I go, and I come over, and I land on nothing that was I like really kind of simple stuff. Okay. And I find this bag on their clearance rack. So I have to show it to you because it's cool. So I get it. Not only do I get it, here's the bag. Oh, can you see it?
Yes.
Nice and simple, right? Yep. But here's the cool part of it. Because it was 75% off.
Ooh.
I got another one. Two Michael Kors bags, almost together, retail value of $1,000 for $160. What?
Okay, I feel like I need to not scream into the microphone. That's exciting. Good job.
I'm just reveling in this infinite possibility. And this was even before my friend said anything, but I just love being in that realm, right? And you and I have talked many times about, just really embracing our energy and our spirit guides and our angels, and just really having a lot of fun and putting that manifestation out there, and the crazy stuff that is so awesome that comes to us. And so I was like, I've got to share this because I'm so excited because I've never had brand name bags, but I do now, and I've got two.
Congratulations! Look at that.
I'm just a little bit excited, I have to say. So, and my daughter, who's a fashion designer, she's like, "Oh, Mom, these are really great. I don't even have a brand name yet." She's like, "This is really great." I'm like, I'm so excited.
Oh my
goodness.
To share. You get the kudos from your fashion designer daughter. How does that feel?
like it was huge. It was huge because she's so tasteful. My children normally don't allow me to go shopping by myself. They don't trust me, but I've learned a thing or two having them be my mentors over the years. And so to have her say this, I was like, yes.
Okay, let's go ahead and give her a little plug. What's the name of her business?
The name of her business is RF Looks. RF Look, Look. And she and her business partner are plus size fashion designers, and they have just got some beautiful work that they are doing. And I'm just honored to watch her grow and flourish in her own space and gifts and talents. And it's just been really awesome to watch and continue to see this evolution. So
yeah, I've seen some of her work too, and it's amazing. And I'm so glad to see that she's being noticed and like the business is growing. So congrats to her. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm pretty proud of her. So.
Oh, very cool. Well, I love that story. I love to go purse shopping, and that's a fantastic purse story. So
like that is just like, I literally called on my shopping angels. I said, let's go find some juicy stuff. And within 20 minutes, I was in and out, and I had this bag, and I'm walking. And I was just like, dang, I got 2 bags.
Okay, I want to highlight what Kaelen just said. Her purse angels. Did you say purse angels or shopping angels now?
Personal shopping angel.
Personal shopping angels, because I know that's something we've talked about, and that's something that you, the audience, can do as well. Yeah. Dedicate a specific angel to any particular task. And I know today I was calling on angels for some certain uses, and thank goodness there's immediate shift. So okay, Kaelen, let's take a quick look at, we've got some guests here with us, and I love seeing our live people. Ready, set, go. Hello to Judy and Serenity. Hello, gorgeous. Thank you for being with us.
Serenity.
And she's saying she prefers purse angels. Awesome.
Done.
Question for all those watching: have you ever, dedicated or assigned certain angels to certain tasks, or called them in for a certain task? Have you ever done that? Let us know.
Yeah. Oh, them. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Kaelen, so one of the things I love to do just to, get this show started and introduce you to people in a formal way, so to speak, is I'm going to go ahead and read your bio.
Yeah.
And then we'll continue on, of course, with the conversation and the fun, the excitement.
And from what you're reading, it might have shifted just a bit. So I'll be able to just kind of fill that in when we go through. But I'm really excited about this juiciness that's coming through. So thank you, Kim.
I love it. Absolutely. Okay. So, then let me just ask you, are you okay if I read what I had for your bio? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. We're good. Okay. So let me go ahead, and if you have not met Kaelen before, allow me to introduce you to this awesome lady. So Kaelen believes that every woman is her greatest gift, adventure, and grandest celebration. And that is why she helps women remove the shoulds and unrealistic expectations from their lives. This allows them to more fully love themselves and their families authentically through inclusion as they celebrate their humanity and oneness. And as the founder of the Million Women Message Movement, she's created a platform where women can share their stories of tragedy, triumph, and faith. And sharing their experiences with others allows a ripple effect to take place, strengthening hearts and homes and creating stronger, more connected families. Love it. And in sharing our stories and being heard, that others receive an unspoken permission to do the same for themselves. She is also the forthcoming author, or the author of the forthcoming book, It Was Never About Me, A Mormon Mother's Journey of Acceptance and Love of Her Gay Son's Reality, coming out in spring 2019. And I just love that, Kaelen. So congrats on the book. That's coming along.
Thank you. It's coming along. And, I love how people come into our lives that help us to tweak things in the right way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give just a quick shout out to one of your previous guests that you had on here just a couple of weeks ago, Ben Joya, Influence with a Heart. Oh, I just absolutely love and adore this man because he embodies the work that he does as well. And as we were talking, the main title is It Was Never About Me. And then the back end of it, the subtitle, An LDS Mother's Journey Toward Loving Acceptance of her gay son's reality. So it's really about sharing, what has this journey been to come to this place and space of loving acceptance of his reality. And it's coming along really well. I'm very grateful for, wow, this was like downloaded. It was like, this is the title of your book. This is what you're going to be sharing your story on. And this is the work that you are to do. And you just don't say no to the universe, because it has this awesome way of circling back around and going, and you're going to do this anyway, because you've been prepared this whole time for whatever work you've been called to do. So
I love that you said that. And, this is actually really relevant for me personally. I was at an event yesterday where I shared with people the story about my uncle 2 weeks before he passed away. That's when he finally started telling the family he was gay. And it broke my heart to know that he didn't feel safe to share that with us sooner. I mean, it just so I love knowing that there are people like you sharing the story about self-acceptance and, and love and things of that nature, because there are so many people out there who are just seeking that validation and acceptance to know it's okay to be who they are and to know that they're still loved, especially by their family.
Especially by their family. In fact, your story of your uncle is part of, I have to tell that, because that was so pivotal for me in my awakening of where I was at. And when we shared this, you shared this with me a few months back, I just remember going, the line's got to be drawn in the sand. This cannot happen. How can a person live their entire life not being their true, authentic self, feeling safe, wanting to love and be loved for fear of what other people would think? And I thought, that just can't be. That's not right on every level.
Exactly.
On every level.
Yeah. I so love it. I'm so glad that we've connected in this way and been able to share, because and I won't get into it, but for the audience, I mean, there were many things about how my uncle lived his life that were like, oh my goodness, like so much could have been different. And I really do believe that it was not sharing that much sooner that impacted and influenced the choices that he made in his life. So awesome work that you are doing, Kaelen. I love it. Thank you. So I shared your bio the way it was. Was there anything else that you wanted to share or add to that?
You know what? Actually, no, it sounded pretty good. As I was listening, I was like, oh, wow, I did pretty good on that.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, there we go. That works well.
Let's give a quick hello to Snera. Her
name that's my beautiful Chi, and she is one of my adopted daughters, and her name is, oh my golly, we call her Chi. Chiara. Oh, it's
Chinera.
Just call her Chi.
Chi.
Yes.
Hello, welcome, Chi. Yes, Kaelen is such a gift. We're happy to have her here on the show today. And Serenity is just chiming in saying we all deserve to feel safe to be me and ourselves. Absolutely. Yes. Completely agree with that.
Yes.
So Kaelen, tell us a little bit more about your story and, what's led you to where you are today.
This is, I love how we ourselves have to go through a whole lot of stuff to be able to see how beautiful life is on the other side. And just to give a quick background on my story.
Yeah.
12 years ago, 2006-ish, we were living in northern Utah, and I wanted to become a religious instructor. That was like my focus. And I prepared for 3 years to go through the program to be able to, what I thought was my final destiny. Like literally, I saw myself all the way through retirement. Like there was no blocks, everything was clear, and I just was going, and it was fantastic. The year that I qualified for the program was in 2007, so I actually started in 2000. 3 or 4, something like that. But the year that I qualified was the year that my husband, he lost his job. The company that he'd been working for, they were purchased by another organization because he'd gotten them to such a beautiful place of revenue, but they purchased the plant. He was plant manager, and they closed the plant down. And it was so clear that we were not to stay in northern Utah. The loudest no was the silence that came from all of my husband's trying to put out resumes, and nothing came back. And it was such a loud no, you're not meant to be here. So I go to tell my director that this is, where my husband's lost his job. So unless you're from the Midwest, I'm just going to say this out loud, unless you're from the Midwest, the average person does not say, gee, when I grow up, I'm going to move to Omaha, Nebraska. It's not a thing. It's not a thing, right? Okay, so
Omaha, Nebraska.
Lots of love, but here I'm going to circle. This is going to come full circle. I'll bring the love back around. I promise you that. Okay. So my parents and my brother and his family move out here to Omaha for my sister-in-law to go to residency school, and she's a doctor, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, what the heck? Let's go try Omaha. We send one of our vehicles out on 2 weeks worth of clothing for my husband, and he never comes home. He got a job, and he's still working at the same place today, 10 years later. Oh. And so we wound up, it was our daughter's senior year of high school. And so we wound up, the kids and I, putting the house all, doing the painting, the final touches to get it ready for sale. Okay. So I go and I tell my director, we're moving to Omaha, Nebraska. And he says, and this process to be a religious instructor is a very long process. It's very intense. And he says, Kaelen, I can tell you unequivocally, if you were to stay here, you would be hired on as a religious instructor. However, where you're going in Omaha, there's only one position that's paid, and it's already taken. And it's interesting because that same person today still has that same position. Oh, wow. So it was never meant to be mine. Okay. So we come here, like our daughter graduated May 29th, loaded up May 30th. We were here by June 1st of 2008. Okay. House hadn't sold, but we came out on faith, just knowing things were going to come into place. So I filled this void with going into education, and I work for an online university. And I start getting my master's degree, thinking that'll fill this void because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something more. Okay. Then I start teaching another program. During all of this, I become a certified trainer for another program, and I'm thinking, oh, this is it. I'll just do this. By 2011, I am in such a state of anxiety. 2009, I had my first panic attack. By 2011, I am so debilitated that I am on long-term disability, and I'm diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, and I'm sucking the life out of my couch for about 18 months plus.
Oh, the life out of your couch. Wow.
It was my living hell. And so then all of this, with the med changes came weight gain. With weight gain came body hating, body bullying, and body loathing. I was in a very dark place, and then came suicidal thoughts. And when those thoughts sounded really yummy, I knew I had a really big problem. So now this is the end of 2011, 2012. Come 2012, our son comes out. I'm in the midst of all of this in my own life. And this is when he comes out and tells us that he's gay. And I have felt like I am the world's worst parent because I think it's all about me. Right? Okay. I think that the way that he is my fault. And I'm owning this. And I just continue to really wallow in this pain. And it wasn't until 2013 I attend a women's conference, and one of the breakout sessions was having a Christ-centered body image. I was really out of alignment. That's what I knew. I was so off-center that I needed to get myself back into alignment, and I didn't know what that looked like. Okay. This showed me, if I'm thinking negative thoughts, if I'm passing judgment, labeling, blaming, or complaining about me or about anybody else, I am out of alignment. because I'm not living in joy. I'm not living in love. I'm not living in gratitude. I'm not living in enthusiasm. I'm not living in optimum health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this was time for me to have the shifting started. And what was so beautiful, now we're going to just jump up to 2014.
Okay.
My children are my greatest teachers, and I am blessed beyond measure because of them. So our son, and in the Revense family, we don't like to do things small. If we're going to do so, we're going to either go big or go home, right? So I get my son. He's involved in a relationship with another young man, and I get a call. This was February 12th of 2014, and this young man is asking for my son's hand in marriage. Oh, I was a hot mess. I was a wreck. I was so self-righteous in this moment, so self-righteous. I was like, well, that's fine. But if you get married, then you cannot do this and this and this and this and this in our home. I want to vomit when I think of how I had reacted in that moment. So then the next day is February 13th and 2014, and they get engaged on Jimmy Kimmel Live that day.
What?
I know, right? And so I'm like, oh,
in your face. Yeah.
Right. And so I go to work the next day, and all of my coworkers are just crazy awesome. They're like, Kaelen, so congratulations, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. Huh. Wow. Once again, I'm thinking it's about me, right? Totally owning this whole thing. So our son goes into this very, he pulls back because he doesn't like confrontation. This was a slam that I did not even realize what I had done. And here was my awakening. Here was my, Kaelen, we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting. And Jesus had to come to Jesus meeting with me this one day. So a couple months later, 4 times on this one specific day, starts off with my daughter saying, Mom, if you don't do something today, you will lose your son forever. And I'm like, whoa. So then I'm prompted to go to a website that is called mormonandgay.org. And I start looking through, and my heart is beginning to understand. And I realize they're all people. What am I thinking? I was putting them putting these people in a different category of less than in that moment. Wow. Then there's this TV show that was randomly on, and I happened to walk through, and the dad, and I never watched this show, but the dad says to the son, you have to live your own life. Nobody can tell you how to live it, not even me or your mother. That's got to be your decision. And I'm like, okay. And so then I'm thinking, okay, there's been so much thrown at me this day. I think I'm going to go watch a movie that'll just be chill. And the movie's called Home Run. And I'm thinking it's about baseball. No. It's about a baseball player who's an alcoholic going through the 12-step program.
Okay.
And I'm just going to give a spoiler alert, because at the end, as he'd been judging all of these other people, he saw their reality because he went and did his own work and saw where he was at. And he could then fully love and see them for who they were because he got clear with himself. So I am bawling by this point. I called my husband up. I said, here's the deal. We have to go see our son as soon as you get home from work. I have to go and see him. So, and he hadn't been talking to us for a couple of months. That's a big deal in our family. Wow. So as any respecting mother, I took his favorite treats. I took Pringles, I took peanut M&Ms, and I took sour gummy worms because he loves to eat them all together, right? Aww. So we go to his house and I knock on the door and I said, and he answered. Wasn't sure he was going to answer, and he answered the door. And I was just like, can you forgive me? I am so sorry because this is my fault. And we embraced and we held each other. And I said, I never realized what I was doing. And I'm so sorry. Will you please forgive me? And he says, Mom, he says, all I've ever wanted was to be loved and to love just like anybody else. And I realized who am I? This isn't about me. This is about me getting clear with my junk and clearing out my junk so I can see his reality and be the love, the service, and the support that I as a mom am meant to be. And that was this healing moment, this very profound healing moment where he and I was finally speaking his language, but I needed to ask for his forgiveness, because then I needed to forgive myself. The forgiveness was, I needed to forgive me, and I couldn't do that until I had asked his forgiveness, because I continued on this very huge healing journey. And now, so I've known that this is where I am supposed to be for about, in regards to serving really Christian parents who have children who are LGBTQ under that beautiful rainbow, and helping them to navigate these waters, because we have this inner conflict with faith, with our religious beliefs. And when we get clear that here's what we know is, when truth is truth, it doesn't matter where it comes from. Eternal truth will always be eternal truth. Doctrinal truth will always be eternal doctrinal truth. What happens is when we humans start putting our judgments in place, and then we call doctrinal truth, or we call culture, living in whatever religious culture and background that we're in, because it happens all over the world, right?
Yeah.
We confuse our doctrinal truth, our culture, with doctrinal truth, and then we start to get this, and it intermingles, and that's where we get all kinds of hinky and crazy in our head, and we start passing judgment. And once I really got clear that these are two very different things, because if we are living to any eternal truth that is on the earth, the only thing that we have to do is love every person and accept them for the reality that they're in. That's it. We don't have to do anything else. We were never called to be a judge. We were never called to be someone to blame. We were never called to be someone to complain. We were never called to be someone to label other people. We were never called to do that. And when I got clear with that, I felt like 5,000 million pounds just lifted, because now all I see is these beautiful, gorgeous people that I just get to love and hug and embrace. And it is just like, oh, it is amazing. It is awesome. And it is wonderful. And this is where this message of parents, it's not about us. Our children's realities have nothing to do with us. It's our projecting on them. And when we get clear in our own lives, right, about who we are, and remove all of our crap, then all we see is just this love. And we can see clearly now the pain that they're in and how to love, serve, and support them. That's the power of this. And I have to say, in June, I went to Winnipeg, one of the most amazing cities. And boy, I love how the universe, everything is not by happenstance.
Right.
I went there for my mastermind group, and it's about creating movements. I'm a movement maker. I am an influencer. This is what I've been called to do. And this movement is about shifting hearts, right? It's about shifting hearts to love themselves first, so that they can completely love those that are most important, their most deepest intimate relationships. So while we're there, of course, it could have been in any other city in the world, but in Winnipeg is the Canadian Human Civil Rights Museum.
Wow.
And I knew I was in for some serious energy opening, heart expansion, soul cracking.
Okay.
And as I toured this museum, all I could see is how we, from the dawn of ages as humans, have treated each other so unkind, through wars, through molestation, through abuse, through all of these things, through hatred. And that's not the case. And just for the mere fact that if you are breathing and walking and you are human, you deserve respect and dignity. That's the basis, right? Right? You get it. You totally get it.
Yes.
And it's about having this basic respect and dignity, because then we just build off from there. And that's all any human being wants to have, is to be respected.
Right.
Because we all want, I know I want to be loved, I want to be liked, I want to be accepted. So does every other 7.6 billion people walking the face of the earth today. That's all we want, right? And so here's this beautiful gift that has come into my existence. That, and I was like, first I'm like, are you sure that this is what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm a little scared. And it's like, no, you got this. I'm like, but let's just take another look here. Are you quite sure? And I got this very clear answer. You have been prepared for this. I would not give you anything if I didn't know you weren't already prepared. And I was like, okay, let's do this thing. And so for me, this book coming out is really, this is a big thing in the beautiful arena, this beautiful rainbow of the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
And what's really fun is my son. Oh, I just love this kid. My daughter, I love her. They're freaking awesome people. And I'm so grateful that I get to call them my children. I'm so grateful for that. And that they get to call me mom, right? Oh. And my son, he's got this wonderful partner. We're just like, because they're, oh my gosh, they're so amazing together. But let me just say that my son he loves this work that I'm doing, and so does his partner. And they know that this is something that's very needed. And when I was telling them about my book and all this beautiful stuff coming through, I felt very prompted about a month later to ask my son if he would write the foreword of my book.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he was like, yeah, I will. And it's been really beautiful to have our relationship go to places that have just been so crazy awesome. Because here's what's interesting. This is where it's still very scary, very scary. And now the Midwest, people are still thinking, oh, people are pretty chill there. It doesn't matter. This is happening global. This is happening global.
Yeah, it is.
About a month after our son came out in 2012, he was working at an Outback Steakhouse, going to school in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay.
And he had a gal that he was training, and she gets to work and she's like, oh, she goes, my cousin, he was like really nervous. And she's like, he wanted to talk to me up until I was like, I have, as soon as I walk in the door, I have to hang up. And they've been on for about 35 minutes or so.
Okay.
But he just didn't want to let go. And so she's there, they're doing the training. About 45 minutes in, there's a phone call there at the restaurant, and it's her aunt calling to tell her that in that time frame, her cousin committed suicide because he had come out to his father that he was gay, and his father denied him, refused him, and denied that he was his son. The pressure became too much. Moms and dads, we have an obligation to our kids. If we see the gift that they really are, they are our greatest lesson, our greatest teacher, our greatest school of knowledge that we will ever, ever, ever encounter in our lives. And if we see them for the gift that they really are, we're going to glean. We're going to become the people we were always meant to become because they're in our lives.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Oh, Kaelen. First, it's okay. So thank you for sharing all of that. So incredibly powerful in the comments that were coming in. I think you saw I shared a few of them. Just, people are loving the story. And I also want to just commend you for sharing it, because I know it's a lot of inner work. doing what you're doing, it's not just the journey of, having that breakthrough of, oh, I'm not going to, be a minister like I thought. I'm going to go in a different direction. Like you shared with us, there was more even beyond that. There was the personal journey about you and your son. And then, like you said, getting to that place of saying, God, is this really what you're telling me, that I'm really supposed to do this? I mean, I can only imagine that it's huge. It's huge and takes a lot of courage and strength to finally make that shift and embrace it and allow it to the point where you now can come out and just so confidently and effortlessly say this now. I mean, that was just such a beautiful, powerful story. And I thank you so much for sharing it, because the world, is craving stories like that today. And pardon me for just a second, but wow, this is what just keeps coming around. And I'm going to just do a last couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity of John Maxwell, who's been in the personal self-development and leadership realms for like 40 some years. He did a simulcast 2 weeks ago. And it was out of Atlanta to over 300 locations globally, and Omaha was one of those. And I was blessed and gifted the opportunity of being able to go and attend. And he had Tyler Perry on his show. Okay. And I have to say, if anyone knows anything about Tyler Perry, it's that he came from this really horrible upbringing of abuse, of neglect, of poverty, and to see where he's at today. But this is what I keep stirring around in my head. Number one, we don't have a clue until we start doing our work what we're capable of. Yes. We just don't have a clue, right? Here, my limited thinking was, I want to be a religious instructor. That's what I want to be. And I'm thinking it's the end all be all. Right. So I'm gonna back this up, because here's Tyler Perry, so freaking awesome. So he says when he's ready to purchase his first studio in Atlanta, 4,000 square feet, he's like, this is it. We've made it. We've hit the big time, 4,000 square feet. They had grown out of that within 6 months. Then he purchases another building, and it's significantly bigger. Okay. And within 2 years, they grow out of that. Then he's thinking, he purchased another building, and they're like, this is it. This is the final place. And it was significantly bigger than that. And he's like, this is where we're going to be. This is our end all be all. They grew out of that. So then this was just maybe a year and a half ago. There is let me say past tense, this abandoned Air Force base in Atlanta. And the realtor's like, hey, Tyler, this is for sale. He's like, are you kidding me? I don't need this much space. What in the world? And he's like, I think you need to go. And so, God was working within him. And he's like, okay. So he says, it was this one Sunday. He goes and he drives out there, and there's these gates, and they've got these white pieces of paper all over. And as he walks up, and this guy, he's a tall dude, right? Tyler's not, he's not vertically challenged. Let's just put it that way. Right? Exactly. So he walks up to the gate, and at his eye level is a scripture, and it's his favorite scripture. And he's like, oh God, you just didn't do that to me, did you? And it's Psalms 91. And he knows he's supposed to purchase this Air Force base. 300 acres, now employs 29,000 plus people. If we limit ourselves to what we think we're only capable of, right, then we're going to live in that very limited space. But when we partner with our higher power, when we partner with the universe, with the angels, with God, whatever we want to call it, when we partner, then we realize that we become malleable in that hand, and we are able to be used as that vessel, that instrument for greatness and goodness, for the greatest good of all. Now look at this. He's not only affecting Don't you love
people.
Her? I love her. Keep going. I love you, Kaelen. I love you. I love it. Okay, if you're getting some insights or ahas while she's speaking, feel free to comment below, because we hear what's coming through for you too. Okay, continue, please. 29,000 people, unlimited, limitless, all that. Yes, continue.
But here's what's so freaking crazy awesome. Not only the millions and millions of people that he's affecting with his movies, right? But think of these 29,000 plus people and their families. Their families.
Are they living
being
on
affected? They're in that greater Atlanta area that he's hiring these people.
Okay.
But now you see it's this massive, and this is like having a boulder the size of the Grand Canyon being dropped in the ocean and just having it go and go and go. And this massive ripple effect, because the impact, he had no idea when he was a boy growing up in poverty that he, and horrible abuse, that he would be able to affect change the way that he's doing now.
Right.
And he's doing it. Guess what? He's not any different than you or I or anyone else on the planet. When we say yes to those promptings that we've been told and guided and prompted to take action on, there's purpose behind there, because there is so much more to us. We don't know what our potential, our ultimate limits are, because we won't ever reach them in this lifetime. They are unattainable.
So, okay, Kaelen, two things I want to touch on is, I love that you just mentioned when we don't respond to those promptings. And now, for you, what do those promptings look like? I know, because you're sharing things like, Tyler Perry, he's seeing his favorite Bible verse on something. And for you, like, you were having those 4 messages in one day. Like, I know it's like, it comes through as like, you're getting these signs and it comes through as like a knowing. And at first you might be like, well, that's interesting, or that's a coincidence. But then you come to learn there are no coincidences. They're messages. So share with me a little more, like, what's your experience of being able to connect those dots and know when, you're getting an aha,
Of course, hindsight is always 20/20. Yeah. And for me, being able to, when I put my coaching program together, because here's what's so beautiful. I love how the universe works, how God, our higher power, divine intelligence, all of this works so beautifully. When we stop and take a deep reflection and really reflect back on our life. And for me, it was knowing there was this prompting, there were these signs. And as a little kid, I can remember I've always been a very spiritual individual. Spirituality, first and foremost, I tell my clients, I'm a spiritual teacher. That's really what it comes down to, because that's where I resonate at. That's the frequency I vibrate at.
Oh, she totally does. Yes.
Oh, yeah. You get this. Amen, right? This is where I vibrate at, right? And I can remember sitting here in this room. This is about 2.5 years ago. Yeah. Sitting here in this room, and I went through this old box that I've had, and it was just like stuff that I'd had when I was in grade school. And I'm going through, and it was like these things, there were just these little pieces of paper and notes and things that were about, I'm so grateful for all of this blessing. I'm so grateful for all of that blessing. And I was like, I've always been so spiritually minded. That's always been who I authentically am. And so I knew that there was this path of being a coach and going into a life coaching realm, but then being guided, because now we're paying attention, right? Okay. We're paying attention. What is it that we're supposed to do? Ask yourself the question, what is your purpose in life? What is your mission in life? What is it that you and only you and absolutely nobody else on this earth can do? And it may be being the very best mom to the kids in your home. Exactly. It may be just that beautiful, right? Yes. And it may be that you are called to lead a movement. It may be that you are called to be a really authentic manager and help the people that you serve in being able to have such a fulfillment in the work that they do, that they get excited every day when they come to work. Yes. Because of how you're showing up, because you've chosen to say, I want to show up in a way that I'm joyful, I'm loving, I'm happy, and I'm filled with optimism for other people and myself, right? Yeah. And so I was led to this beautiful program that within 3 weeks, I had written my coaching program.
Okay.
And here's what's really cool. This coaching program that was written over 2 years ago completely downloaded to my soul. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would just start writing. It's like, okay, go back to sleep and come again. Okay, here we go. And it would just download. And I had this 7-module program that was just downloaded into me. And this has become and is still today the program that I'm to teach. But here's what's really cool. So in the beginning, you were talking about my original audience has always been women who have abandoned themselves. They felt frustrated in their lives. They're tired all the time. They feel like they have no time for themselves because they're not making the time. They've abandoned themselves. They don't know what it looks like to have self-love and self-care. And all that has done is I have the same, my content is exactly the same. The message is the exact same for Christian parents that have LGBTQ children, because it's not until we get clear with who and whose we are and our capabilities until we're able to then see how we can serve, love, and support our children.
Well, I love that you're acknowledging that. I just want to also highlight for anybody watching, what Kaelen's talking about isn't just for Christian mothers with homosexual children. It's for every person on the planet, and whatever the contrast or challenging thing is in their life. In order to move through that, it's going to require first dealing with your own stuff, doing your own work. But I love that you are focusing specifically on Christian parents, Christian mothers and their, homosexual children. So I just had to make that distinction.
Because it, just like you said, it doesn't matter what kind of parent are we showing up to be with our children who might have a drug addiction, who might have their self-esteem is so horrible that they don't know how to navigate the waters of high school because they can't see it. Right.
Yeah.
And whatever those challenges are, not feeling liked, loved, or accepted on any level. I mean, I love back in the day, Paul Harvey, for those of us who are a little more mature, we remember Paul Harvey, and I can remember him giving this quote. And the question was, how do you get a teenager through their adolescent years? Okay. And the answer was, any way you possibly can. Right? Because each child is different.
Yes, exactly.
But for us to show up and be the very best parents we can for them, we've got to do the work that we have. Yes, serenity, love is love is love is love. That will always be the base language, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. How can we completely love our children if we don't completely love us?
Yes. Go there. Go there.
I'm going there, sister. I'm going there.
I'm looking at the time and I have questions I want to ask you and stuff, but I'm loving the flow too. Okay, so go there. Yeah. So,
because if we're not accepting ourselves, if we're not liking ourselves, if we're not loving ourselves, nothing gets done. Absolutely freaking nothing gets done. The scripture says, love your neighbor as yourself. You got to love yourself before you can even think about really and truly and completely loving, liking, accepting your neighbor for all they are. In just their own unique awesomeness of their reality, right? But you can't do it until you accept your own reality, right? Yeah. And that's what you've got to take a look into. So when we do, just like you said, when we do our inner work, just get ready.
Kaelen, so I want to ask you, I love that you just mentioned that, about interpreting the scripture, because you said something earlier on that I think other people watching this may be like, well, how do I do that? So you mentioned earlier, finding or looking at the difference between, I want to remember it exactly how you said it, culture and divine scripture. Thank you.
Divine truth. Yes.
So how were you able to separate the two? And
that would be the come to Jesus meeting that Jesus had with me, and letting me know that my thought pattern was way off track. I was on a place of being self-righteous and placing myself above other humans, including my son, when that's just not the case. when we take a look at humanity, it's about looking in the eyes of every human that we see, that we come in contact with, and looking at them for who they are and for all of their stuff that they've got going on in their lives. That's part of their existence, their reality that they're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? And just getting clear that everybody's got stuff, and your stuff isn't any different than anybody else's.
Right. Okay. So I feel like that is that's a whole boulevard in itself.
Yeah.
That's
true.
That like we could have a whole show on just that aspect of your story and what you talk about. So, so I'll leave that there, but thank you so much for highlighting that. And we had a really good question come through, and this is a great segue. So Kate is saying, where do you find info to do your own inner work? That's an excellent question, Kate. Thank you for asking it. So Kaelen, specifically, and okay, I actually just clicked on Brianna's. Let's look at Brianna's comment as well. I have talked to your mom about some issues I have been dealing with, and after listening tonight, I know I need to look at myself. Oh, that's awesome, Brianna. Thank you for sharing that. That's wonderful. So, going back to Kate's question, Kaelen, share a little bit more about your program, because your program helps people do that inner work.
This is exactly what I do. And it's, we all have to go on our own journey. And I'll tell you what, if I'd had a life coach back in the day, I so would have done it, because I went through a whole heck of a lot of stuff before I was able to be okay with me. Yeah. And that was part of the suicidal thoughts and all that other crap that went through, right?
Yep.
And getting out on top of it. And literally it was about reading, finding things that were enlightening to me. And to be honest, it was getting out and reading really great books. People like Brene Brown, people like Eckhart Tolle and The Power of Now, listening to Abraham Hicks. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Oprah and Deepak Chopra and all of these amazing gurus that are out there. Mike Dooley, Infinite Possibilities. Louise Hay. Oh my gosh, I love her. And the thing is when we say yes, when we say yes to ourselves, and when we say yes to life, be prepared, because that information will start flowing to you, and you'll start seeing it. The thing of it is, you've seen it all along. It's come along your path, but you haven't been awakened to it.
Yes. Okay. So, and I want to add to that. Thank you for sharing that. I want to add to that I can hear people saying, how do I say yes to myself? You say yes by starting to say, gosh, I want to know more.
Yes.
I want to know, gosh, I want to know what's my inner work. Like there's no question that is too small or insignificant or whatever. Like you just start by saying, I'm ready to take a look at this, even if I don't know what the heck this is. Right. And I know for many years, I was every day saying, okay, dear God, please just show me, please guide me, show me my path, guide me, show me the way. Like I said that for so long. And then all of a sudden, all these things started happening. And then it was a hindsight moment where I looked back and I was like, oh, I asked to be shown. And I was, and I was taking, so.
It might even be asking the question, help me to be awakened, awake my soul. And the quickest way, and this is for all of my clients through my program, they know that this is a non-negotiable when they work with me, is daily gratitudes. Gratitude is it's my lifeblood. I've been doing it over 7 years daily. It has shifted everything, because when we go into a state of gratitude on a daily basis, and all of a sudden we start seeing. And I love to call it, like when you're at a crime scene and they go around and they're dusting for fingerprints, they're dusting for evidence. I love to see God's fingerprint, and I literally go through and I'm dusting and I'm looking to see his fingerprint on the things in my life. And I see them multiple times a day. It's like, oh, here and here and here and here and here, because I've asked myself to be awakened to it. I've asked myself to be open to seeing with my eyes and my heart the beauty that I've been so richly blessed with. And you cannot help but go into a place and go, wow. I mean, let's really take a hardcore look. Out of the 7.6 billion people on the face of the earth, I have indoor plumbing. I have electricity.
Yes.
I have reliable transportation. I don't have to use the shoe leather express. I mean, that's just like, those are the big things, right? And yet so that gratitude.
So many things. Absolutely. So many things. I'm grateful that it's easy for me to breathe, to take another deep breath. I'm grateful that I don't even have to think about breathing, although sometimes sometimes I actually do, and I'm so grateful because I realized I wasn't quite deep. Anyway, that's another story. But yes, that is so beautiful. And Kaelen, I love how you said, like dusting for fingerprints. That is an amazing metaphor. I love that.
Right? Yes. Because now we can see, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, right? The universe always has our back. When we open our eyes to it, the only time that it doesn't is when we don't have our back.
Yes.
It's that simple.
And okay, like that's a whole other boulevard we can go down.
I love all these boulevards.
I just have to say, it's a whole universe of its own. No, but we are merged with it. It's part of our world. It's our universe. Okay, too much. So I want to just say though, because I always feel like I can hear two different sides of things. So the universe always has our back, and the way we can support it in supporting us is to be mindful of our thoughts and the energy we're putting out. Because if we're constantly putting out, I hate this, I hate that, I hate this, well, then the universe is going to have your back and give you more. Oh, you do? That's what you're doing now? Okay. But if you're doing the gratitude every day and you're doing your own work, the universe is going to support that. So that's the other side of that. That's how the universe has your back. Whatever you're putting out, universe is going to give you more.
It has to. And the beautiful thing is that's a universal law. That cannot ever, and will not ever be not. It's one of those eternal truths that we were talking about. And people call it karma. Guess what? It's a real thing. Whatever you do put out there for good or for bad will always come back in abundance. So the more that we consciously, I was talking with a client today, that we consciously choose to say, today, I choose to play in the world of infinite possibilities.
That's a good one. I like it.
Today, I choose to play and live in this world of infinite possibilities. Let's just see what comes through. And what's going to come through is what your heart's desire, truest desire is, because that's going to be your purpose, your mission, the things that you were called specifically to do in this lifetime. It's so beautiful. It's so crazy awesome. I love life. I know. And we have way too much, but we could go on forever.
I know, we could go on forever. So, Kaelen, let's tell our audience, where can they find out more about you and your work?
Absolutely. So you can definitely find me on my personal Facebook page at Kaelen Revense. You can find me on my business page at Celebrate You, or I think it's Kaelen Revense Coaching, Kaelen Revense Coaching and Celebrate You. I'm still figuring out that Instagram thing, but let's just stick for those two for now. And then I do have my website at KaelenRevense.com. But you can also reach me at my email. Super simple, Kaelen, Kaelen at KaelenRevense.com. And in my email, my signature, I have it. I would love to give this away. If you would like to have a copy, I have got a copy of my first book. It is called 8 Little Secrets to a Crazy Awesome Life, What to Do When Life Gives You Lemons. And this is a free ebook that I would just love to give away. And in there, I also have a link if you want to set up a complimentary strategy session with me to talk and to see if we might be a fit for each other, because that's always the best, is to see if you and I are meant to come together, and how I can love, serve, and support you in any area of your life. So that's where you can reach me.
That is beautiful, Kaelen. I love it. So again, that was KaelenRevense.com, correct? Mm-hmm. Where they can get the ebook and the down. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, actually, if they can do that. That's still got a little bit of hiccup, but if you just email me, I can go ahead and just shoot it out to you, because it's in my email signature response. So
awesome. Okay, so Email Kaelen at kaelenrevense.com and you can get the free book.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
Absolutely. Kimmy, thank you. Thank you for for this space that you create for so many people to come and share their messages, their missions, their purpose, and their hearts. And I'm so grateful for you and for all that you have personally done for me, because I'm just going to tell you all right now, for all of you who are watching, listening, she's my Kimmy. She will always be my Kimmy. She and I, we've connected for a couple of years now, and life is really wonderful having Kim in your life. So thank you for allowing me to be here with you today. I love you so much. So much.
Okay, it could become a love fest because I love it.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for that. I so appreciate you. And I've absolutely enjoyed our time here today. Oh my goodness, could listen to you for forever. And I just love it. So thank you to all those who have been here with us live and those who are on the replay as well. Do feel free to go ahead and comment. We would love to connect with you even after the show. And I just want to remind you that every day is truly always a new day. No matter where you are today, does not have to be where you are tomorrow. And that can be by simply, as Kaelen said, by saying yes, by setting the intention that today I choose to live in a world of infinite possibilities, by choosing to just say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for what that next thing is. Show me. There doesn't have to be a right or wrong way of opening that door. It's literally you just saying, okay, I'm ready. That is you saying yes to you, and you will be shown those next steps. And Kaelen has a phenomenal program that I absolutely encourage you to check out if she has resonated with you. And I can't imagine that she has not, because she's resonated with me. And I love you. I love you. So, okay. So, and lastly, let me remind you that you can find out about more Every Day is a New Day episodes on Facebook, going to @KimO'Neil and that's the Every Day is a New Day show and coaching page, and click on the events tab, and you can find out about future episodes coming up. Or if you'd also like to find out more about how I can support you in gaining more confidence in your personal and professional life, making sense of the chaos in your head so you can stand more confidently in your power, then I would love to connect with you. And you can also, of course, reach out to me over on Facebook or on my website, KimO'NeilCoaching.com. And that's O'Neil, O'Neil. And with that said, I had a fantastic day today. I hope you did. And we will see you next time. So bye for now.